Welcome to Christ Table. My name's Kevin. I have the privilege of serving here at Christ Table as lead clergy. We are so glad that you're here with us today. If you'd like to know more about Christ Table, all you have to do is visit the URL that's right there, www.christstable.today. Sign up for the email list there so that you'll know everything that's happening around Christ Table. I do want to make sure that you are aware that this study has a study guide that goes along with it. Would love for you to have it absolutely free, no strings attached. You don't even need to give your email address in order to get it. All you have to do is visit the URL right there. You can download it, PDF, go.christstable.today/divinecomedy. I will say that if you would like to help us out financially, there is a box that you can get there that has a printed copy, a nice printed copy, spiral bound of that curriculum, as well as several other things with it. All you have to do is click on the button there that says get the box. One other thing that I want to make sure that you're aware of before we move on, reconstruct your faith. If you're struggling with your faith, know somebody who is, then this book right here may be very helpful. If you'd like to find out more information about it, then drkevinyoung.com. That's the place where you can find out more information as well as get the book there as well. So we're in a series and we're coming to the end. We're in the middle of the next to last week. Holy Week is coming up really, really quickly. So it's amazing. Next week, I guess, is Holy Week. So we're here in the study where we're taking a bit of a different look at Jesus, where we're looking at the wit, the humor, and how it kind of wraps around his wisdom, how he utilizes turns of phrase and words and stories that are kind of funny and odd in order to teach the crowd around him, or also to teach the religious leaders as well. Today, we come to, even for Jesus, is a bit of an odd story. So why don't we just go ahead and pull it up and get ready to roll right into that story. The text for today is Luke chapter 12, where Jesus is going to talk about a veritable billionaire. And so all of the crowd would have been on the edge of their seat because most of the people who followed Jesus were commoners, were very poor people. And Jesus had a lot to say about taking care of poor people, those people who are not able to fully care for themselves, were the responsibility, especially those people who were followers of God, of Yahweh, had a responsibility, unique responsibility to take care of their neighbor, to take care of others. And so Jesus oftentimes gives rich people as much or more difficult a time scrutiny as he did even the religious leaders. So today we're going to have quite a story that surrounds that. Luke chapter 12, Jesus tells this story. Someone calls out from the crowd, "Hey, teacher, please tell my brother to divide our father's estate with me." "I want the money," the guy says. Jesus replied, "Friend, who made me a judge over you to decide such things?" Then he pauses for a moment and he says, "You really need to probably be careful. Beware. Walk lightly around any kind of greed. You need to be careful. Life is not measured by how much you own." Boy, some people need to hear that, right? Then he tells him the story. The story's a doozy. A rich man had a fertile farm that produced fine crops. And already people are bought into this because in a desert climate, which Palestine is in, it's in a very arid climate, there are those places that are very lush and that are very green, but there are also many, many, many places that are just out and out wilderness. But having a crop that wasn't just having a farm that wasn't able to just grow things, but was fertile, where the soil was perfect, that produced fine crops, was really the stuff of legend and the stuff of dreams. So this man says to himself, "What should I do? I don't even have room for all of my crops. And they said, I know what I'll do. I'll tear down my barns and I will build bigger barns. And people are like, how do you, this man has so much money because he has this land, apparently a lot of it, that produces so many crops over and over and over again that it's providing more yield for him than he's able to spend. So he's able to simply tear down perfectly good barns and build larger barns to make more money to pay for things that he doesn't need to pay for. He's already stinking filthy rich. Why does he need more money? Dude's a hoarder, I guess, of money. But I'm going to tear down my barns and I'm going to build bigger ones. And then I'll have enough room to store all of my wheat and all of my other goods. I'm going to become filthy rich. And this is like the American dream, right? Jesus is describing this here, creating an environment or a scenario where you get rich or get richer on all of this. And this is so in the news right now, right? So the man says, I will sit back and I will say to myself, when all of those barns are filled with all of these crops and I'm filthy rich, my friend, you have enough stored away for years to come. Now take it easy, eat, drink, and be merry. While lots of other people aren't able to store things away, don't have a farm, don't have extra, hungry. The crowd would have understood this because this would have described them. They may have known people who were like this, who would hold extra resources for themselves rather than give it away to other people, rather than bless other people. And God says to this farmer, this billionaire, you fool, you will die this very night. And who's going to get everything that you worked for? Where do you think that it's all going to go? And Jesus says, yeah, a person is a fool to store up earthly wealth, but not have a rich relationship with God. So a guy goes through all of this work. Everything is perfect and getting better for him. Tears down old barns in order to build, they may not even have been old probably, good barns in order to build larger barns to hold more food and more crops that weren't going to be used for doing anything at all other than just sitting there for a rainy day or for some time way far down the road. And luck of all luck, that man dies. Doesn't get to enjoy any of those things. And all of it goes, what I guess from where the story began, to be divided amongst his heirs or not, to cause fights over other people who didn't earn it. All that work, all that time, all that energy in order to build up for himself things that ultimately were no good to him. That's some dark humor, Jesus. People are laughing at the billionaire, laughing at the guy who's become the billionaire butt of the meme, of the joke. But that applies maybe to everybody, right? Spend their time working, collecting, building things that ultimately have no value. Especially have no value in comparison to life or to other people. You see here in this, the punchline stung wealthy elites who in those days equated wealth with divine favor. The people would have been thinking that this man must have been blessed greatly by God to have been given this farm, to have been able to have all of this money and resources. They would have wanted to have had all of these things, both because it would have made their life more comfortable, but also because it would have meant that God loved them more and approved of them more if they had it. And because they didn't, God didn't approve of them as much as he approved of this billionaire. But then God seems to not be of approval and even seems to take this guy's life. What? Huh? My wealth isn't an indication of God's love or approval. It's not an indication that I've been doing the right thing. It's actually an indication that maybe I'm off. I'm in the wrong. And just like, y'all, I've been trying to tell you this like every time I talk. Have you not been listening? Like, come on. So the crowd is now laughing uneasily because it masks this truth that Jesus is actually telling, in that storehouses can't store souls. Barns can't be built to house believers in God. All of those things that the billionaire, many of the listeners, and you and I spend our time focusing on and doing have literally no value beyond themselves. They gain us money that doesn't have any value beyond the paper that it's printed on in the grand scheme of things. And so the punchline here is an opportunity, yes, to laugh at billionaires and the lack of necessity at striving to be that, or to think that you are better in God's eyes or better than others because of it. But also it's an opportunity to self-reflect on ourselves and say, where are those places where I have built bigger barns, where I've tried to do grander things in order to sustain or grow things in my own life and in my own sphere of influence that might bring comfort and safety and security to me, in a world where not only am I not promised comfort and safety and security, but I'm supposed to push away comfort and safety and security in order to use the things that I have to give comfort and safety and security to other people who don't have it. And that's the real point. The billionaire in this story was thinking about himself when he could have been and should have been thinking of other people. It's been good to be with you today. A great dark humor story. Looking forward to being back with you tomorrow when we move on from the Grim Reaper and talk about another silly situation with Jesus. If you'd like more information about this study, get that study guide, as well as the opportunity in that curriculum to go a little bit deeper in today's study. All you got to do is visit that URL right there, go.christ